Okay, guys, we made it back through the all the settings and all the setup fun stuff, right? But now we the final kind of piece of the puzzle is making sure you have the conversions and the settings ready to actually key in on the goals, right? And the tracking. So it's like, what's the goal? All right, now it's time to track to goal. So if we go into the account, and I already have a couple accounts in here just to kind of preface this up, so because you really need to have kind of at least one campaign built out in here. All right, so from this point, you're going to go over to the tools section, and you're going to go to conversions. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do a couple different conversions, right? So there's call, and then there's the website tracking conversions. And on the website tracking conversions, that kind of breaks down to a couple different ones. You can do button clicks, you can do phone number on the website. So there's a few different ones in here. But for this particular example, I'm going to basically first off set up a phone call one. All right. So the phone call one is actually has a couple components on site as well, depending on if you want to get really advanced and start tracking either just calls to a phone number. So let's say you have a phone number that displays on your website and you want to be able to, and somebody just makes a phone call from maybe like a desktop interaction. They see the phone number, pick up the phone and make a phone call. That's one type of tracking. You also have the one where you can actually, if they click on the button on the website, whether it be on a mobile device or on a tablet or a desktop, you can actually have it track that as well. The easiest one for this is just from the call extension or call only add. So from here, you just click on that, you hit continue. You can name the conversion. Now it's very important to not change these, because if you ever get to the point where you want to start uploading offline conversions back into the system, they have to match verbatim. So with this, we'll just do only, start it off. I don't know. Let's do, I'll probably put like the last 4 digits of the phone number so I can recognize that, just in case I want to start doing them separately. All right. So then you have your category down here. Now it has these 4 different options. Again, a lead is basically it acquiring information, right? The purchase or sale is obviously the purchase or sale. And this would maybe be like a sign up for a webinar or something to that effect. Most of these are, honestly, you're going to pick either a purchase or a sale. The sign up is typically reserved more for form fills, which that's not really what the call extension is, right? So we'll do the lead or the purchase. For this particular one, we'll just do a lead. Now you can assign a value to it. If you do this, you have to get a little bit more complex with the code setup, where you have to do kind of some custom coding to actually put the value into it and also return the value, right? So within this, let's say we want to do a $30 call, what it's worth, how many conversions to count per click or interaction, right? Every or one, depending on what it is. If it's a close, like so, if you do this like high, where it's like a 1200 second one, that maybe work for one. But I always do every conversion, because especially like within health insurance leads, I'll give you an example. If they call one number, they will call excessively. Like they will call a phone number, not get the answer they want. They'll call the exact same phone number right back. Well, we kind of rotate our phone calls. So that's one of the advantages, where we want to make sure that we're getting credit for every conversion we're potentially getting, right? So the call length is the next portion that you go through. Now you can set that at 300 seconds. You can set it at 180 seconds. You can set it at 1800 seconds. Right? It depends on what you want to do. Now, again, the conversion window, this is going to be synonymous within any one of these conversions that we're going to set up, is you can basically set up exactly how long it is from first interaction to, let's say they finally convert on day 10, right? It would still count that as the same conversion from that original click, that original phone call. So, I always set them up typically 4 weeks, 28 days. Do we want to include the conversion in the account? So this is where it gets a little tricky. So for most of the campaigns that especially getting started, you're going to want to include the conversions in the account, right? Now, if there's something that you need, have two different strategies, have multiple products, you need to be mindful that the conversion will actually, it can go back to misrepresenting kind of what your overall conversions are, right? The conversion will only optimize for the smart bidding based off of the conversion that's selected for that particular campaign. But what it looks like within the account, if you have include in conversions, is that you have maybe all of these conversions when they are not specifically representative of that particular campaign or that action, right? So, and you can do this, add this conversion action to conversion ad sets, right? So that's a new feature where you can add additional features. Now, the attribution models, again, these are pretty kind of self-explanatory. We're going to go more in depth in these in the analytics course in the accelerator program. But last click is obviously from the last click that they have. First click is if basically, let's say they click on Google search and then they come back and they click on Google display ad, then it's going to give most of the attribution back to the first click, all of the attribution. If they click on the display ad right in this one, it's going to give all the attribution to the display ad. Right, a linear gives it each incremental points gets an equal distribution. The time decay reduces the distribution of the credit from the original click as time decays away from to the last click. Position based gives the most credit at the top end and bottom end. So these are kind of your conversion models and how to set up a click to call. So again, with this one, it's pretty easy. You just click on that and you're done, right? So where they get a little bit more complex is when we're doing a call only ad, or let's say we do want to do a website conversion, right? Calls to a phone number on your website. So with this one, you actually have to place a code on the site. Okay, so we'll just do test. Run down through this, every last click, create, don't use a value, or do that. Okay, and then basically you can email the tag to somebody, you can install with Tag Manager, or you can install the tag yourself. But you click on this, and what it's going to do is it gives you instructions, right? Set up to conversion, tracking for test. You must have the global site tag and phone snippet on your website. So in order for that, right, you come down to these different options. The global site tag is what we talked about, in the setup portion of that every single one of the site needs to have it on there. All right, it's part of the conversion process. But the global site tag, if it isn't installed and you just want to do the HTML, which you can do as well, then what you're going to have to do is just come down here and download this code, all right? And you have to place it on the page in the header of where it's going to fire, right? And then install the phone snippet as well, if you want to do that. So what we do here, we go down here, hit create snippet. So now this gets a little bit more complex, right? So copy the snippet below and paste it between the head and the head tags of the page where your phone number appears right after the global site tag. So if you'll notice in here, it put my phone number in there. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll establish this as the global site tag. This goes on every single page, right? And then on the specific page where you have the phone number that you want to track, and that may be on every single page as well, right? So this may just go in synonymous with that. Or if it's on a specific page and you have other phone numbers on other pages, then again, you have to assign the unique one. But the steps go basically, and we won't cover these Google Analytics ones or the Google Ads account because we'll go ahead and tag those later. With the Google Ads, all it is it's just the snippet, okay? So, but from starting to finish on there, right, what you're going to do is you're going to put this global site tag on the site in the header of each and every single page. Doesn't matter how big, small, or effective or, important the page is. The next thing you want to do is based off of what phone number you want to track, 688, 80, then I create a snippet and I'll have another one, all right? And let's say I have, a third one. There is no limit to how many of these you have, but you have to set up individual conversions for each one of them, right? But the codes, that's what it's going to, the snippet that you're going to install on the page that you want it to fire. And what it's going to do basically is when somebody visits your website from clicking on the ad, then this code is going to replace with the phone number that it finds from creating this snippet. And it's going to replace that with a Google Voice phone number that they can track. And they can basically do all the back-end Google stuff that they like to do. And then from that point, you hit next and you're done, right? So with setting up a normal conversion for just a website, okay, again, it's a little bit simpler than the calls because it's not as specific. It's more, unless you're starting tracking specific conversions for pages, which again, we'll cover that in the analytics portion. This is just setting up a simple, unique tracking code, right? So first of all, you just pick what you're trying to track. We're trying to track purchases on the site. Purchases. Use the same value for each conversion, use a different value. I'm just going to use a value for this conversion, not recommended. But I still want to track every single conversion, right? That's not going to matter. Now, conversion window, again, same menu as we discussed in the previous one. The only difference here is a view through. Now, a view through is based off of if they just see an impression of your ad. Okay, so a view through, what I'll typically set those for is maybe like a week. If I have a 30-day up here, I'll do a week here. It's about 25% of what your overall conversion window is because these people actively engaged with the site, right? These people just saw your ad. So it obviously wasn't appealing enough for them to click on it and distract them from what they're doing normally. So I'm not going to give it too much credit if all of a sudden they find it 30 days later. So that's why I reduce the window on those. And again, you can adjust whether or not included or not. And then you have your attribution model. Same thing you create here. And then from this point, you're going to go back through the same process of delivering the tag, right? So this we're going to tag ourselves. You can do AMP or HTML. I always choose HTML. Now, again, since we're just starting this, you haven't created anything, you got to throw this global site tag on there. So put that in the header of each one of your pages. And then basically on what you want to track is where it's going to be a little bit different, right? So where before you were going to track the phone number, it replaces the phone number. With this, it's going to it's going to fire this code on this particular page that you place it on, either on page load or on click. So what you're going to do basically is, again, if it's on this particular page and they do it on a click basis, then they're going to land on that page and it's not going to record that as any sort of action on it unless they go down and they click the button. Now, these aren't designed for stuff that you have a bunch of different budget buttons or a bunch of different navigation buttons. These are more designed for putting on like a order confirmation page where it has all of your details and it says click to proceed, right? That's what these are really designed for, to do it on click. If you want to get more complex with the firing of it and stuff like that, that's more of an analytics feature rather than these more simplistic codes within Google Ads. Okay. But on page load, these are going to be the easiest for really most people to put because on most conversions, you're going to have like a thank you page after it, correct? So you just throw that on the thank you page. Once it loads, you know that the purchase happened and you're all good to go. Okay. And then next, again, you're done, right? So that's setting up and tracking to the goals, right? And this is how you're going to track all of your Google Ads. There's much more complex stuff you can do. At the end of this entire program, I'm going to teach you how to use the Google Tag Manager, and you can get into some real fun processes to understand like page depth and how far people are scrolling down on pages and how long they spend on certain sections, and a lot of really cool strategic stuff that we go more in depth to in the accelerated program. But for this particular format, you just really need to make sure that you can put, $1 that you spend in AdWords to a conversion. And that's what these codes are designed to do. And so this is going to return the value and show you exactly when and how your money's being returned, basically, like your ROI is what's going to be determined off of this. And the other advantage of this as well is by having these codes in there and tracking within the systems, in the majority of the campaigns that we have, other than some more brand awareness campaigns, you have some sort of conversion tracking capability or conversion bidding capability, either through ROAS, some sort of CPA bidding, those to that effect, where you can get very, very precise with how much you're willing to spend or invest for how much you're willing to get back, or expecting back, I should say. So make sure you get these in right away as you're setting up these campaigns. Never fire off a campaign without any sort of tracking in it, or that some sort of tracking, even if it's just tracking the clicks in it and tracking the conversions as far as like a page load or a simple purchase or a call extension. You need to make sure that you can always report back to your ad dollars, so that whether or not you're trying to report back to a client about how profitable you are, or you're trying to run your own small business, you can always make sure that this is returning money back into your pocket.